Doing good. We can't go anywhere on the carpet for a whole week, said Robert. I'm happy about that, said Jane in a surprising way. Happy? Said Cyril. Happy? It was breakfast time. Mother's letter was on the table. Everyone had read it. The letter said they were going to their aunt's house in Lyndhurst for Christmas. Mother and father would meet them there. The letter lay on the table. One corner was in the bacon fat, and the other corner touched the marmalade. Yes, happy, said Jane. I don't want more things to happen now. I feel like I did after we went to 3 parties in 1 week at Granny's house. And with toys and chocolates too. I want things to be normal now. I don't want any more magic things. I don't like keeping secrets from Mother, said Anthea. I don't know why, but it makes me feel bad and selfish. If only we could make Mother believe it. Then we could take her to nice places. But now we just have to be selfish and mean, if that's what it is. But I don't think it is. I know it's not, but I feel like it is, said Anthea. And that feels just as bad. It's worse, said Robert. If you know something is bad but don't feel bad, it's not so bad. Father says that's being a real criminal, said Cyril. He picked up Mother's letter and cleaned the corners with his handkerchief. The bacon fat and marmalade did not make much difference to its color. Let's not be ungrateful. Let's not spend today feeling bad because we can't tell Mother. Anthea did her best to tell her, and Mother didn't listen. Let's get on the carpet and make a good wish. We can think about feeling bad next week. Yes, said Cyril. Let's. It's not really wrong. Look, said Anthea. There's something about Christmas that makes you want to be good, even if you don't want to at other times. Can't we wish to go somewhere where we can do something good and kind? It would still be an adventure, she said. I don't mind, said Cyril. We won't know where we're going, and that will be fun. We should wear warm clothes, just in case. We might help a traveler in the snow. Like St. Bernard dogs with barrels on our necks, said Jane. She was now getting excited. Or we might get to a house just in time to see a will being signed. More tea, please, said Robert. Then we'd see the old man hide it in a secret place. Years later, the true heir would be very sad, and we would show him where it was. Yes, said Anthea. Or maybe we'd go to a cold room in a German town. So that won't work. I'd like to be in a war and find secret news, then take it to the general. The children sat down on it. The phoenix came too. It was invited as a Christmas treat to watch them do a kind and good thing. The 4 children and the bird were ready. They made their wish. Everyone closed their eyes so the spinning of the carpet wouldn't feel too strong. When they opened their eyes again, they were back in their room in Camden Town. The carpet was on the floor in its usual place. Oh no, said Cyril. What's this? Do you think the magic is gone? Robert asked the phoenix. No, said the phoenix. But what did you wish for? Oh, I see now, said Robert, looking very upset. It's like the end of a fairy story in a boring magazine. How awful! You mean it wants us to do kind things here at home, said Anthea. Like carry coal for the cook or make clothes for poor people. I won't do that. Not today. It's our last day. Listen, Cyril said loudly. We want to go somewhere really interesting. We want to do something kind, but not here. Somewhere else. Understand? Good. The 4 children and the bird fell down in a heap. Everything went dark. Is everyone here? Asked Anthea in the dark. Everyone said yes. Where are we? It's cold and wet. Yuck. I put my hand in a puddle. Does anyone have matches? Anthea asked. She thought no one would, but Robert smiled in the dark. No one could see it. He took out a box of matches. Everyone looked at the light with open mouths. Good job, Bobs, said his sisters. Even Cyril had to say Robert did well. I've carried matches since the Tower Day, said Robert. I knew we'd need them. I kept the secret well, didn't I? Oh yes, said Cyril, but not kindly. I found them the Sunday after. I was looking in your pocket for my knife. I thought you took the matches for lanterns or to read in bed. Bobs, said Anthea suddenly, do you know where we are? This is the underground tunnel. And they all saw that Anthea was right. This is a strange place to do kind things, said Jane. There's no one here. Don't be so sure, said Cyril. Maybe around the next corner we'll find a prisoner who has been here for years. We could take him out on our carpet and bring him back to his family. Yes, we could, said Robert. He stood up and held his candle high. Or we might find the bones of a prisoner. We could take them to his family for a proper burial. That's kind, in books. But I never understood why bones matter. I wish you wouldn't say that, said Jane. I know just where the bones will be, said Robert. See that dark arch there? Just inside. If you don't stop talking like that, said Jane, I'll scream, and then I'll faint. I will too, said Anthea. Robert didn't like being stopped from imagining things. You girls will never be great writers, he said. Writers love thinking about dungeons, chains, and scary bones. But before she could start to faint, the golden voice of the phoenix spoke in the dark. Peace, it said. It said, there are no bones here, except the small ones inside you. And you asked me to come with you to see a kind and good action, not to hear talk about bones. We can't do anything good here, said Robert in a bad mood. No, said the bird. And I'm not so little, said Jane, not very kindly. Robert said nothing. Cyril said maybe they should take the money and go. That wouldn't be kind, only helpful to us. And it's not good to take money that's not ours, said Anthea. We could spend it on the poor and old people, said Cyril. That still doesn't make it right to steal, said Anthea. I don't know, said Cyril. Now they were all standing, said Robert in a joking voice. Let's stay here all day, talking while the candles go out. It'll be fun when we're in the dark again, with bones. Let's leave then, said Anthea. We can talk as we go. So they rolled up the carpet and left. But when they got to the place where the tunnel came out to the tower, the way was blocked. A big stone was in the way, and they couldn't move it. There, said Robert, even a fight or a tunnel. So they turned back. Robert had to go first with the candle because he was the one who started talking about bones. Cyril carried the carpet. I wish you hadn't talked about bones, said Jane as they walked. I didn't. You always had bones in your head. More bones than brains, said Robert. The tunnel was long. There were arches, stairs, turns, and dark spaces that the girls didn't like. At the end, there was a set of stairs. Suddenly, he fell back and stepped on Jane's feet. Everyone screamed, "What is it?" "I just hit my head," said Robert after groaning. "That's all. Don't worry, I like it." "The stairs go right into the ceiling, and it's stone," said the Phoenix. "Try to push it. There's no wheel to push," said Robert, still rubbing his head. But Cyril went up the stairs. He started pushing the stone above. It didn't move. "If it's a trap door," said Cyril. He stopped pushing and felt with his hands. "Yes, there's a bolt, but I can't move it." Luckily, Cyril had his father's bicycle oil can in his pocket. He put the carpet at the bottom of the stairs. He lay down, head up, feet down, over his brothers and sisters. He oiled the bolt. Rust and oil fell on his face. One drop even went into his mouth because he was breathing hard. Then he tried again, but still it didn't move. So he tied his handkerchief with bacon and marmalade on it to the bolt. Then he tied Robert's handkerchief to that in a strong knot that gets tighter if you pull. The girls held their brothers and pulled too. Suddenly, the bolt made a rusty noise, and they all fell down the stairs except the phoenix, who flew up. No one was hurt much, because the carpet softened the fall. The boys pushed the stone with their shoulders. It began to move. Dust fell on them. Now, shouted Robert, forgetting his sore head. Push together. 1, 2, 3. The stone moved. It swung up with a loud noise and showed a square of bright daylight. It fell back against something that kept it open. They all climbed out. There wasn't much space, so when the phoenix came up, they let the stone fall back down. It closed like a trap door. The children were very dirty and dusty, but no one saw them, only each other. They were in a small shrine by a road that went through green and yellow fields to the tower. Below were empty fields, brown earth, and small houses. The shrine was like a tiny church with no front wall. It was a place for travelers to rest and think about being good. The phoenix told them this. There was a statue inside. It used to have bright colors, but now rain and snow had made it dull. Under it was written, Saint-Hung-des-Loups. It looked old and forgotten. But Anthea liked that tired travelers could stop there for a few minutes and think. Thinking of Saint-Jean-de-Luz, who must have been good and kind, made Anthea want to do something kind, too. Tell us, she said to the phoenix, said Cyril. And give it all to them, said Jane. Yes. But whose treasure is it? I would go to the first house and ask who owns the castle, said the golden bird. It sounded like a good idea. They cleaned the dust off each other as best they could and walked down the road. Soon they found a small spring of water coming from the hillside. The water fell into a stone bowl. Around it were some green plants, now almost brown. The children washed their hands and faces. They dried them with their handkerchiefs, which felt too small, as always. Cyril's and Robert's handkerchiefs made things worse, but they all looked cleaner than before. The first house they came to was small and white. It had green shutters and a roof made of slate. It stood in a neat garden. There were big stone pots on both sides of the path, but the flowers were all dead now. One side of the house had a wide veranda with wooden poles and a vine growing on it. It was wider than English verandas. Anthea thought it must look lovely in summer with green leaves and grapes. But now it only had dry brown stems and a few old leaves. The children walked to the front door. It was green and narrow. A chain with a handle was next to it. The chain went to a rusty bell under the porch. Cyril pulled the chain, and the bell rang loudly. Then they all had a terrible thought. Cyril said it out loud. Help pull. Oh no, he said. We don't know any French. At that moment, the door opened. A tall, thin lady stood there. She had pale curls like brown paper. She wore an ugly gray dress and a black silk apron. Her eyes were small and gray and looked red like she had been crying. She spoke to them in a language they didn't know. She ended with something that sounded like a question. No one could answer. What did she say? Robert asked. He looked into his coat where the phoenix was hiding. But before the phoenix could speak, the lady smiled brightly. You are. Re from England, she cried. I love England very much. Mais entrez. Entrez donc tout. Come in, come in. We only wanted to ask. I shall tell you everything you want, said the lady. Just come in. So they all went in. They wiped their feet carefully and put the carpet in a safe corner of the veranda. The best days of my life, said the lady, were in England, and for a long time I have not heard an English voice to remind me of the past. Her kind welcome made everyone feel shy, especially the boys. The whole floor was very clean with red and white tiles. The sitting room floor was shiny, like black glass. They felt like they had too many loud boots on their feet. There was a small bright fire with neat wood on the hearth. The logs were on shiny brass holders. Some pictures of ladies and men with powdered hair hung on the pale walls. There were silver candle holders on the mantel. The chairs and table were slim and fancy, with thin legs. The room was plain, but its foreign style felt cheerful in a strange way. At the end of the shiny table sat a small boy on a footstool. He wore black velvet and had short velvet hair. His collar had lots of lace. Robert would never wear something like that, but the boy was younger than Robert. "Oh, how pretty," said everyone. But they didn't mean the boy. They were talking about a tiny Christmas tree. It was very green and stood in a bright red flower pot. It had shiny decorations made from tinsel and paper. There were little candles on the tree, but they were not lit. "Yes, it is nice, isn't it?" said the lady. The lady lit a long red taper in the fire. Then she closed the curtains and lit the small candles on the tree. When they were all lit, the French boy shouted, "Bravo, ma tante!" The phoenix came out, spread its gold wings, flew to the top of the tree, and sat there. "Oh, catch it!" cried the lady. "Thank you." The French boy clapped his clean hands. But the lady looked so worried that the phoenix flew down and walked up and down on the shiny table. "Does it talk?" asked the lady. The phoenix answered in perfect French, "Parfaitement, madame." "Oh, the pretty bird," said the lady. "Can it say more things?" The phoenix now spoke in English. "Why are you sad so near Christmas time?" The children were shocked. Even the youngest knew it was rude to talk about someone crying, and worse, to ask why. The lady began to cry again, a lot. She called the phoenix a bird with no heart. She couldn't find her handkerchief, so Anthea gave hers, but it was too wet to help. Then Anthea hugged the lady, which helped more than the handkerchief. Soon the lady stopped crying. She found her own handkerchief, dried her eyes, and called Anthea a dear angel. "I am sorry we came when you are so sad," said Anthea. "But we only wanted to ask whose castle is on the hill." "Oh, my little angel," said the lady, wiping her nose. "The castle belongs to our family for many years, but tomorrow I must sell it to strangers. My little Henri does not know. He will never have his family's land, but what can I do? His father, my brother the Marquis, spent too much money, and my dear father also. How would you feel if you found a lot of money, hundreds and thousands of gold coins?" asked Cyril. The lady smiled a little. "Ah, someone has told you the old story," she said. "Yes. They say one of our ancestors hid a treasure, gold and more gold enough to make Henri rich forever. But all that, my children, is only fairy tales. She means fairy stories." The phoenix whispered to Robert, "Tell her what you found." So Robert told her. Anthea and Jane hugged the lady so she wouldn't faint from joy, like in books. They hugged her with happy hearts. "It's no use trying to explain how we found it," said Robert. "You wouldn't understand, and you wouldn't believe it," hugged the girls. "Tiny 70s that—" "No, he's not making it up," said Anthea. "It's true, true, true. And we're so happy. You wouldn't be so cruel to an old woman," the lady said. "And I say congratulations." He spoke very politely, and that seemed to help more than all the hugs. "If I'm not dreaming," said the lady, "Henri, go to Manon, and you children will come with me to the priest." Yes, Manon was an old woman with many wrinkles. She wore a red and yellow scarf on her head. She took little Henri, who was sleepy after all the Christmas tree fun. The lady put on a stiff black coat, a black silk bonnet, and black wooden shoes over her soft house shoes. Then they all walked down the road to a little white house, much like hers. A kind old priest opened the door. He looked surprised, but welcomed them with great politeness. The lady told him the story. Her hands moved a lot. Her shoulders went up and down. Her voice shook with feeling. She spoke in French. The priest, who didn't know English, waved his hands, shrugged his shoulders, and spoke in French too. He thinks she has lost her mind, whispered the phoenix. Too bad you don't know French. I do know French, whispered Robert, but only things like the gardener's pencil and the baker's niece's knife, nothing useful. If I speak, the bird whispered, he'll think he's crazy too. Say what I tell you. C'est vrai, monsieur. Then is donc voir, said the phoenix. Then Robert spoke very loudly and clearly. C'est vrai, monsieur, venez donc voir. But now he knew the lady wasn't the only one who believed the story. So the priest put on a big hat, took a candle, matches, and a spade, and they all went up the hill to the shrine of Saint John of Luz. Now, said Robert, I'll show you where it is. They lifted the stone with the spade. Robert went first. Everyone followed. White, the gold treasure was still there, just as they had left it. Everyone's face was full of joy for doing such a kind thing. Then the lady and the priest held hands and cried with joy. They knelt down and touched the gold. They spoke quickly, both at once. The priest shook hands again and talked, faster and more French than you can imagine. The children were so happy they couldn't speak. Go now, said the phoenix softly, like in a dream. So the children quietly left. They slipped out through the little shrine. The lady and the priest were so busy talking and crying, they didn't notice the guardian angels were gone. The children ran down the hill to the lady's house. They found the carpet on the veranda. They spread it out and said, home. No one saw them leave except little Henri. He had pressed his nose to the window. Later he tried to tell his aunt, but she thought he was dreaming, so that was all right. It's the best thing we'd done, said Anthea as they talked at tea time. From now on, we'll only use the carpet for kind actions. Ahem, said the phoenix. Sorry, said Anthea. Oh, nothing, said the bird. I was just thinking.